Today is my first day in more than 3 weeks that I'm taking the afternoon off. I'm gonna knit my butt off the rest of the day. I'm just gonna sit around and I'm gonna knit for like 7 hours straight. I'm gonna knit for like 3 hours straight. I've got kids. I'm gonna knit for like 30 minutes interrupted, but it's gonna feel like I knit for 7 hours. Hi, and welcome to the Yet Another Yarn podcast, or as I like to call it, the YAYCast. I am Gina. I am coming to you from just outside Chicago, Illinois, where I live with my husband Tony and our 2 kids Zoe and Pete and our enormous golden doodle Caesar. If you are a first-time viewer, thank you so much for checking me out, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. If you guys like what you see here, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. It means the world to me. I am blown over with how many subscribers and followers that I have had. I am just so grateful for all of you. This is such an amazing community and I love it so much. If you'd like to follow me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram at craftallthethings, all one word, and you can find me on Ravelry at gfiorito. It's Gfiorito. It's a crazy, weird Italian last name, and I will make sure I have all this information down below for you so you can easily find it. Today, my coffee mug is an enormous one because, as you were about to hear, I've had a very crazy September. So this is my Once Upon a Time Disney mug. I got this 4 years ago, 3 years ago. I got this 3 years ago when we went to Disney. We were in Orlando for a friend's wedding, and we were lucky enough to have a lot of friends who actually work at the Disney properties. And one of them, pause. Oh God, I needed that. One of them was so generous enough to allow us to use her passes to go for the day. Our daughter was only about a year old at the time, so she doesn't remember any of it. She slept through most of it, actually. But Tony and I had a blast. I love Disney World. I love all things Disney. So you'll see probably me talking very much about Disney for a while. This is actually not the only Disney coffee mug that I own, but it's my favorite right now because it's one of the largest I own. Ironically, all the Disney coffee cups that I own are some of the largest coffee cups I own. I am sorry that I did not get a chance to record a podcast earlier this month. It has been a crazy, insanely busy month. We have had tons of weddings and tons of shoots. If you're new, I'm a full-time wedding photographer and portrait photographer, and the fall here in Chicago is the craziest, busiest season for us. It's one of the few times of the year that the weather can be somewhat predictable, and it's lovely outside. It is gorgeous. It has been like mid-60s, low 70s all the time, and it's just, it's wonderful. But that also means that I don't have a life. So for the past 3 weeks, it has just been insanity over insanity. I have been waking up at like 5:30 in the morning to work, so we've been pulling like 16-hour days. I actually had to take a break from knitting, which I know was horrible. Ironically, after last week's episode talking about being a continental knitter and how I hadn't had any wrist issues, like not even 24 hours later, my wrists started to act up and I got a carpal tunnel flare up and it was horrendous. I couldn't knit for probably 3 or 4 days. I ended up having to put my both wrists in braces. I had to shoot a bunch of weddings and wearing wrist braces, which looks really silly and it's kind of hard to do because I don't have the flexibility to be able to manipulate all the controls as easily as I normally would. So that was a whole mess, but luckily I'm doing better now. Wrists are back to normal, yay! I've been knitting furiously to kind of make up for lost time, so some of the projects that I have, some of my works in progress did not get worked on as much as I would have liked. We're making some progress, so it is what it is. I would like to thank the following for keeping me company during this traumatic, busy time. I have been watching, while I edit, I like to watch podcasts and other podcasters. So the Pimp podcast, the Grocery Girls, Levi at WTF Knitting, the girls in the Yarn Cafe, Yarngasm, Stranded, WoolJewel. Those are just a couple of people that have been keeping my heart happy while I have been staring at screens nonstop for the past 3 weeks. I will link all of these podcasts down below. I believe everybody probably knows about most of those. They tend to be the more popular podcasts out there, but if not, you should absolutely check them out. They're all awesome, and I love them all very dearly. And even though I've never met any of these people in real life, I consider them friends. I think a lot of the people that I call my friends don't realize that they're my friends. I should probably do something about that. So I also wanted to tell you guys that my sister Kayla has finally gotten her butt in gear and started her very own podcast. We actually started talking about making podcasts together. Like, that was the plan. We were both going to do it at the same time. And then she took forever to post hers, which I'm mad at her about, but it's up now. It's adorable. I know she's got a second episode coming out soon, so you should absolutely go check her out and subscribe to her. Her podcast is called the Kayla Crafts Podcast. Again, all this information down below for you to easily find. My fun fact for you guys this week is that I have decided to ditch about 80% of my wardrobe. I have never had a defined style my entire life. In fact, I consider clothes kind of my enemy. I like sweatpants and pajama pants, and since I work from home, I can actually just wear those 90% of the time. Nothing ever matches, and I don't know how to coordinate things. I'm always so jealous of these people that can like put together these like really cool outfits with accessories, and that's just not me. So I decided that I was going to ditch almost my entire wardrobe and start from scratch with a bunch of just basic neutral things, and then just knit all the other things that I wear so I can accessorize with shawls and sweaters and shirts that I have made. So, in theory, this is an awesome idea because A, gives me an excuse to buy more yarn to make all the things, and B, makes me look really cool because everyone will be like, hey, I really like that thing you're wearing, and I can say, thanks, I made it. And then they're really impressed with me. You see how this is going, right? What I didn't think about was the fact that I don't have very many things that I have knit currently that are finished. So I ditched most of my clothes and I went to Old Navy during a big sale because that's where I live now. And I bought a whole bunch of basics and I was really excited and I was like, this is gonna be awesome. And then I realized I only have like 2 or 3 things that I've knit so far. So now my wardrobe is very sad and plain, but I hope very much that throughout the rest of this year I can make myself more things to wear so I don't look so boring all the time. But I'm really excited about this idea. I think it could be really fun. I know a lot of other people out there have done similar things. If you've done that, if you've ditched most of your wardrobe and decided to just wear things that you make, I want to hear from you. I want to hear how it went. Or if you're really interested in it. I have this whole idea, I know capsule wardrobes are a very popular thing, so I have this whole idea that I'll have like this really tiny, easy to manage capsule wardrobe, and then as I'm walking out of the house, I'll just throw a fun accessory on, and all of my accessories always match what I'm wearing because what I'm wearing is super neutral. I don't know, I think it'd be really cool. I like this idea. Tell me what you guys think. And I also, before we get started, wanted to give a little shout out and plug for my friend Sam. She, along with being a fellow mom of 2 kids, is a crazy person because she's decided to run the Chicago Marathon this year. And she's doing it for an awesome reason. Our church is partnered with a charity called Team World Vision, which raises money to build clean water wells in Africa. And there's a whole thing. You can check out all the information about Team World Vision on their website. Links obviously down below. And it's a really awesome charity. It's a really awesome organization. My husband, Tony, actually ran the Chicago Marathon last year with them. It was insane. He's not a runner, neither is Sam. So they have literally started from zero, from never running or running. I think in my husband's case, he'd like run a 5K-ish before. In Sam's case, she was not a runner. I think she said like the furthest she'd ever run before this was 2 miles. But she's actually doing it with her husband, who is, he was in the same position last year, wasn't a runner when he started, and now this is his second marathon, and he's just crushing it, and he's really good at it now. He's also really good at fundraising. So they are raising money for this through the marathon, and I wanted to put her little plug out because her husband's so good at fundraising that I feel like we need to give Sam the edge. And so Sam is a fellow crafter. She is a crocheter. She actually teaches crochet lessons at our local yarn store. And I just thought it would be so awesome if this great crafting community can go and help support a fellow crafter in doing something awesome. So she's almost done with her training. The marathon is in, I think, 3 weeks. 1, 2, and like 3 or 4 more weekends. It's at the beginning of October. And when you're marathon training, a marathon is 26.2 miles. Like, what? Why? I hate running. I don't think I can't ever, no, I don't want to. But she's running 26.2 miles in about 4 weeks. This weekend is their largest training run. So I'm recording this on Friday. I probably won't post this on Monday. So as of Monday, she'll have run 20 miles. And that's the longest run they have in their training before they run the marathon. So before you run your first marathon, you've never actually run 26.2 miles in one go before, which it just blows my mind that the first time she'll run that far is on marathon day. This weekend, tomorrow for me, this past Saturday for you guys, she's gonna be running 20 miles, and I'm so proud of her. It's amazing to watch. You can actually find Sam on Instagram. She created a separate Instagram account just for this experience that she's had of training for the marathon. Her Instagram handle is whining.runner, and I'll make sure that that's linked below so you can check out the entire journey. It's been incredible to watch. And I'm also gonna link down below her fundraising page. Every $50 she raises goes to giving one person clean water for life. And I just think that's so amazing that such a small amount of money, like that's 2 skeins of yarn. 2 skeins of yarn can give somebody clean water for their entire life. That's mind-boggling to me. So I just want to help her and her fundraising efforts. Mainly I just want to see her beat her husband because she's awesome. And Michael's awesome too, but she deserves to beat him this year. She has had to work super duper hard. She just had a baby. She had a baby the same time I did, and now she's out there running marathons like it's no big deal. And I'm over here sitting and talking to you lovely people. If you feel so generous as to make a donation, thank you so much. Even $5 helps. So go check her out. Go support a fellow crafter in doing something incredibly epic and awesome with her free time. She's actually had to take a backseat on crafting because it's so time intensive to train for a marathon. And I know she's ready for it to be over. And I'm excited to have my crafty friend back once she's done with all of this. So we're going to cheer her. We're going to go and cheer her on in October, and I'm really excited to watch her do it and just give her all the hugs and high fives at the end of this. So let's move on to stash enhancements, which is my favorite part of the day. Originally, I didn't think I was gonna have a lot to share with you guys in this segment, and then the last week happened, and I decided that I deserved some presents for surviving the past few weeks, and so I made some stuff. I ordered some stuff. Yeah, get ready. It's probably a lot more than I think it is. Okay, first up, I got my first Wool and Vine yarn. Guys, first of all, I can't believe I actually got something. The shop update that this one came out on, this was a couple weeks ago, sold out, no joke, in 11 minutes. I timed it. I had a timer on my phone. I was ready to go. I was at the computer. I was logged into PayPal before we even got started so I wouldn't get cart jacked. And I'm shocked I got anything. I'm so excited I got this one. I've been dying to get a hold of some of her yarn, and I know it's like impossible to get. So this one is her Feyre, I think that's how you say it, colorway. This is Feyre. and it's on her Nouveau base, which is 100% superwash merino, and it is gorgeous. It has all these like kind of soft, it's like a burnt orangey brown that kind of fades into like a mauvey kind of color, which is, I know, her thing, and it's got some darker grays in it, and it looks like it's pretty much a light gray base, and it's stunning. I love it. The name of the colorway comes from the book series A Court of Thorns and Roses, which she's talked about recently on her podcast. And actually, when she mentioned it on her podcast, she had been like the third or fourth person in a week's time frame to talk about that book. And so I was like, okay, I guess that's the universe telling me I need to read this book series, and oh my god, it is an amazing series. If you are into young adult books, if you're into fantasy books, it was awesome. I am completely obsessed with the series. It's 3 books so far out in the series, and I think I finished it in like 2 weeks time. I could not put it down. I actually taught myself how to knit and read at the same time so I could read it faster. I would absolutely recommend that book series for anybody. It's a little fairy tale, it's got a little Hunger Games, it's got a little Game of Thrones, like all the best aspects of the stuff that I like to watch and read now. It's just kind of all jammed into that series, and I can't even begin to tell you. I'm reading it again, because once you get to the end and you realize there was a whole subplot going on the whole time that you just never noticed, and then you have to go back and read the entire series again from start to finish, just so you can kind of like see those little hints that she left for you along the way. And it's awesome. It's brilliant, and I love it. I love it dearly. And I love even more that Kristin made a couple of different yarns that were inspired by the series. I wasn't able to get a hold of the other ones, sadly, but hopefully she makes them again so I can have a whole set. I don't know if I'll ever make anything with them. I think I'll just keep them like on this shelf in tribute to the series and to Wool and Vine. I think I might make a single skein project with this one because it's so pretty, and I just want it to stand on its own because I love it. So hit me up with your single skein projects down below that aren't socks. We'll talk about socks later. So the other thing that I ordered for myself, I decided to try out some of the Knit Picks Hawthorne line. I signed up to do the Hokey Fall Cowl with the Hokey Locatelli patterns, and I really wanted to do her new long line cardigan that she just released a couple weeks ago. So I ordered a bunch. I think I'm gonna need like 4.5-ish skeins to finish this sweater, because it's just this long, flowy, open cardigan that I love because I can wear it with leggings, and I only exclusively wear leggings in the fall, mainly because I just hate jeans at the moment, because jeans are uncomfortable and leggings are amazing. So I need to get a move on that, because at the rate I'm going, everything's still in skeins, nothing's been balled up, I haven't cast on anything, and I think the cowl started as of the 1st of September, so I'm like 3 weeks behind everybody. But I have a lot of projects on my needles, and I didn't get to work on anything, so I'm trying to set goals for myself. This is the Hawthorne Tonal hand painted, and this color is called Newport. It's just kind of like a tonal chocolatey brown. It's actually a little darker in person than it appears on the website photo, which I'm actually really excited about. I was a little nervous ordering that much on the website because it was almost more of an oatmeal-y shade from the picture, and I was worried that it was going to be too light. I love the fact that it came in darker, and I know that's always the risk you take when you order hand-painted or hand-dyed yarns. I was pleasantly surprised. This one it's an 80-20, and it's machine washable, and you can supposedly put it in the dryer, which I'll never be brave enough to do. But I like that it's machine washable because that means I'll actually wear it more often when I know that I can just toss it in with other things. Maybe one day you'll see a finished long line cardigan, hopefully before the cowl ends. If not, I might just be working on it for the rest of my life. I also decided very recently, like 3 days ago recently, that I really want to go to Rhinebeck. We've discussed this. I have friends that I can stay with there. I'm really excited to go with my sister. But plane tickets are just not coming down in price, and now I'm at that awkward moment where it's like, okay, you've waited long enough, now they're only going to get more expensive. So I decided that I'm going to try to auction off a couple of yarns that I've dyed to help offset the cost of the plane ticket, because I'm determined to get there. So I wanted to share with you guys a couple of things that I've dyed. I'm also going to be dyeing a little bit more. I'm going to auction everything off on Instagram. I'm just going to do an Instagram auction because I feel like that's the easiest, and I'm not trying to sell a ton yet, so I don't have that kind of time or energy at the moment. I figured Instagram would be the easiest way. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram, you should absolutely go follow my Instagram account. I'm also very close to 500 followers on Instagram, and there may or may not be, a giveaway at that point. So just, things to keep in mind. So I've dyed up a couple of skeins that I had, and I've ordered more skeins. So I will be dyeing those next week. So hopefully in the next week or so you'll see an Instagram auction pop up. So the first couple of things I dyed, I dyed up more of, so last podcast I talked about the Halloween set that I made for my really good friend Dree, who's obsessed with Halloween, and it was her birthday, so I decided to dye her Halloween inspired yarn. And I was very, very sad to let that yarn go after I dyed it because I loved it so much. So I made myself some more, and I made some extra skeins of the one called Witch's Familiar, which is this one. It's a gray base that's got some green, like chartreuse green and yellow speckles, and also has like sections that are darker, that are almost black. The inspiration for this name came from the fact that cats are typically a witch's familiar animal. It's their spirit animal. So Dree's obsessed with cats, made perfect sense. So yeah, I kind of wanted it to be like, I don't know, like the green and yellow is kind of like cat's eyes peeking at you. So I dyed these the other day. I had enough time for them to dry. So I swatched up a little bit of it because I kept one for myself, obviously. I swatched up a little bit so you guys could see how it knits up, and I'm kind of obsessed with the way it knits up. I think it's going to make like an awesome pair of socks. And I might even dye up, I have an order of minis coming. I might dye up like this darker chartreuse or this like darker gray and make a little mini to go with it. Make little sock sets because I think they'd be really fun as Halloween socks. I actually cast on a pair of Halloween socks with this, and then I sat on my needle and I broke it. So you get the swatch instead. Sorry. Yesterday, I decided to dye a little bit more. So these are actually still kind of damp. I didn't let them dry all the way, but I really wanted to show you guys. So I made two more. I made this one, which I'm calling Trick or Treat, and it's got lots of oranges and a little yellow and brown, and then some spots of bright pink. I just, like all the Halloween candy that you get on Halloween. So I think this was just like really fun and kind of a punchier fall color. I wanted to make fall colors that weren't typical fall colors because I feel like everybody kind of does that. So I figured why not make something fall inspired, Halloween inspired, but not your typical one. Then I made this one. This one I'm calling Foggy September Morning. This is literally based on the walk to school with my daughter yesterday. When we woke up yesterday, it was super foggy outside. It's actually, she's 3.5, so it's like one of the first times she's experienced fog, and definitely the first time that she's walked through fog. So she was just like over the moon about it. She thought it was the coolest thing. I was trying to explain to her what fog was and how, I overly simplified it, and I was like, well, the clouds came and the clouds are on the ground today. And she was like, we have to help them get back up in the sky. They don't belong on the ground. It was adorable. Anyway, I just loved as we were walking to school, and like here in Chicago, the leaves don't really start changing until like mid-October, but we do have a couple of early fall trees on our block. So we have a couple of trees that are just starting to turn yellow and orange. And I just loved is how we were walking, and like as you'd come on a tree and it would be these like bright, brilliant greens that would just really pop off of the background that was just like, you know, muted and gray because of this fog. And then every once in a while you'd get one that had just like little tiny hints of like yellow and orange. And that's how this little scheme was born. And I'm really excited with how it came out. So foggy September morning. I dyed this one on the single space that I had. So I have 2 of these, 2 foggy September mornings on a single space, and I have 2 trick or treats on a 75-25 sock base that will be auctioned off, along with 2 skeins of the Switches Familiar, which is also on the 75-25 sock base. If you have seen other things that I've dyed that you'd be interested in, any colorways that you're like, you loved and you would totally try and get in on that, let me know. Put it in the comments, because I have an order of yarn coming and I'm going to dye some more stuff, and I would really I'd love to cover the cost of this flight to Rhinebeck. I think that would be awesome. And it would also make the trip way easier to sell to my husband when I'm like, look, it's already paid for. I don't have to do anything. We don't have to worry about the budget. We're good. And then I should probably earn some money to buy all the yarn in Rhinebeck. I didn't think about that part yet. Okay, let me know if there's something that I've dyed that you would get on top of. Let me know and I'll make it happen for you. So that's it for yarn. I do actually have bags. I ordered bags. I am a huge, I don't really have a ton of like traditional project bags, and actually I prefer canvas bags. I think I'm weird. I'm probably like really alone on this. I prefer canvas bags because it's way easier to dump a bunch of projects into a canvas bag and just take it with me. So I ordered 2 new canvas bags. Don't get me wrong, I love traditional like knitting bags. Maybe I'll just throw like the regular project bags into my giant canvas bags. There's a thought, maybe we'll do that. I ordered 2 canvas bags from an Etsy store called Mattercut, and I will be sure to link this below. He does like really funny pop culture references, and I'm a sucker for a good pop culture reference. So I had to get this one. This one says, "How you doing?" This is obviously Joey Tribbiani's quote from Friends. I also put my Fueled by Coffee pin from Clever Clove on there because it's my current favorite bag. I am the biggest Friends aficionado you might ever meet. I have seen the series, no joke, 4 times in its entirety, every single episode. It is my go-to show. If I just want something on in the background, I just pop on Netflix, throw on Friends, and just let it run. It typically has to ask me 4 or 5 times a day, "Are you still watching Friends?" "Yes, Netflix. I'm always watching Friends." Stop it with that mess. My other bag that I ordered is this House Stark bag, which kills me, with a little wolf and his little beanie hat on the top. By the way, that ending of Game of Thrones, what was that? I can't even talk about it. I have so many conflicting emotions. If you want to discuss, let me know. I have so many opinions on Game of Thrones at the moment, and I need somebody to talk to them about it, because I think my husband's actually sick of talking about Game of Thrones for once in our lives. Oh man, and that, I think, that ends all my acquisitions this week. So like I said, I didn't start with that much about a week ago, and then I might have overindulged, let's be honest. Works in progress. I have a few. I don't know that I've necessarily had a ton of progress to show on some of them, but here we go. First up, I will show you the one that is the slowest going, only because I have the longest deadline for this. This is a Christmas present for a friend's mom. She is just an epic, awesome person, and she's been so generous and nice to our family, and we didn't get to do something big for them last year for Christmas, because I had a baby 4 days before Christmas last year. I wasn't doing much of anything. So I decided this year to kind of go all out. This is my Pure Joy shawl by Locatelli, and it is all scrunched up because I'm using a 16-inch cord which is entirely too small for this project, and I should order a 32-inch minimum to finish it, because I know that it's just going to keep getting more scrunchy and scrunchy. It's eventually going to scrunch its way off of the needles. Fun fact, after I showed this to you guys last time, so I have knit one full wedge since the last time I showed this project, and it's such a fast and easy knit. I probably should be much further along on it, but it's just kind of the one that I work on in between other things, or if I get bored on something else. I've mentioned before, I love it. It's a super easy knit. It's really easy to follow along the pattern. You memorize it really quickly. It's good for car knitting or commuter knitting, at least until it gets to that size where it's like super unwieldy. But I noticed last time, so you know how last time I showed this, I dropped a couple of stitches and had to like fix it, and it was embarrassing. I noticed afterwards, I had dropped a stitch, y'all, in like the middle of one of the rows, and it was slowly coming unraveled. And so I had to, after I cried a lot, because making mistakes in knitting is my biggest fear. I'm not good at fixing my knitting yet. So mistakes really terrify me, and I saw it and I was like, there's no way. I can't knit back to it because it was so far down. And I had no idea how to fix it, and I was terrified of just ripping stuff out, but I did. Actually, now that I've done this, and I'll tell you about the other thing that I ripped out, this wasn't nearly as stressful as it started in my head. But I had to rip out like 3 or 4 rows, and then I was able to pick all those stitches back up and fix the mistake and keep going. So I'm really impressed with myself that I've been that brave recently because normally old Gina would have just been like, well, it's ruined, and now it's just gonna get frogged, and we're gonna have to start over, and I'll never finish that project because it'll terrify me. And now I'm determined to just learn how to fix my mistakes, or at least learn how to hide my mistakes, because let's be honest, we don't always fix mistakes, do we? So completed one more wedge. I have 2 more wedges to go on this. I have one more wedge of the light pink, which I will be playing an incredibly hair-raising game of yarn chicken with, because I will probably run out with like this much to go. I don't know if this is going to be cheating. I might size down a needle size. What do you guys think? Do you think that will work if I size down? I think these are a 6. Like if I go down to a 5 for the next wedge, do we think it's going to make that much significant difference in the look of the pattern, but possibly save me just enough yarn for that last little stretch? Or am I being a crazy person and that's going to make the whole thing all wonky, and then I'm really going to be, pissed off at myself for thinking that could possibly work? I would love your opinions on this. Fellow knitters with way more experience than me, does sizing down a needle save you that much yarn, and will it affect my pattern so greatly that I can never show it to anybody ever again? I'd love to hear your thought. The yarn I'm using for this is Madeline Tosh. This lovely, that's red. This lovely color is called Stucco. They're both a Toshmo Light base, and this one is called Wet Clay, and it lives in this cute little deli-cute bag that I bought for myself that it's actually outgrown, so I should probably size it, or I should promote this to one of my canvas bags and maybe put a pair of socks in here. But it says knitting is sitting for creative people. I think I got this off of Jimmy Bean's Wool? Craxy? One of those big websites. Alright, my next work in progress that you guys have seen before is my Boxy Chevrons sweater from Susanne Sommer, which looks kind of silly now because, again, my needle is too small. It is, I think it's only a 32-inch. I should probably swap it out for a 40. And I haven't made a ton of progress on it, and last time I showed this to you guys, it was just 2 sleeves. They hadn't been joined together yet. I had to go around and pick up something like 350, 360 stitches all around the body, which I am glad I Googled and YouTubed how to do that properly, because I learned I've been picking up stitches wrong this whole time. Who would have thought? So I learned how to pick up stitches the right way. That took me probably way longer than it should have. I think it took me 2 full days to pick up the stitches. And then I've just been essentially knitting around and around and around ever since. But it's a lot of stitches to knit around. So even though I work on it a little bit every day, probably not making, I don't know if I'm making enough progress as I need to finish this by Rhinebeck. This is my if I make it to Rhinebeck sweater, which hopefully we make it there. That being said, I really, really love it. I dyed this yarn myself. This darker gray color is called Perfect Storm, and this speckled yarn down here that's just black and white I've been calling Rorschach. I don't know, I'm so excited to wear this. I love boxy sweaters. They are my jam. I'm hoping, I know that you do pick up and knit a little bit of a collar. I've noticed, I don't know if you guys can tell or see that, but I've noticed where I joined the sleeves, there's a little bit of gapping there. I'm hoping when I knit the collar together and then I block it out that the tiny little gap will just kind of disappear into the nether. Yeah, I'm really excited to wear this. I'm really excited to get bigger needles so I can actually try it on and see how it's fitting. Hopefully next time we see this, much more significant progress, so that way I'll actually be able to wear it to where it's intended. Sweater lives. And my bow ties are cool bag, which my husband got me a couple years ago for my birthday, and is a Doctor Who reference from the Matt Smith years, because bow ties are cool. I am knitting some socks. Finally decided it was time. They have been scaring me. I don't know why. I've just been avoiding socks so much. I love the idea of knitting socks. I love wearing socks. Should be obvious to just knit the stupid socks. But here we go. I showed this yarn off last week. This is the yarn that I got while we were in Wisconsin on vacation. It is from 3 Irish Girls. I believe the colorway is called Sierra. I don't remember the name of the base, but I know it's an 80-20. I love the way it's knitting up. It is so squishy. It is like lovely squishy. Sometimes I don't even knit it. I just sit here and I just squish it like a little security blanket. The reason that this project is not as far as I would like it to be is because this is officially my car knitting project. I had a moment a week or two ago where I was running errands and I dropped my daughter off at school and I was like, I'm gonna go grocery shopping and I'll be done grocery shopping by the time I need to pick her up. It'll be perfect. I had to go to 2 different stores, and I realized when I got there, the stores didn't even open yet. So I had like 30 or 40 minutes to kill, and I didn't want to have to come all the way back home because I knew if I came home, I wouldn't end up leaving again. And then I realized I didn't bring any knitting with me. And so that was like 30 or 40 minutes of just nothing that I could have been making things with. So my husband suggested that I just keep a project in the car for those times when I have unexpected knitting time. And I was like, genius, that's why I married you. So my socks are now my official car knitting project. I will be spending a lot of time in the car this weekend, so I'm hoping to make a lot more progress on these. I am just using the free, I think it's just a free vanilla sock pattern from Kristin on Wool and Fine. Yeah, the only change that I've made is I have those feet that like are in between sizes, so I sized down a needle, but I'm making the medium size sock, and I feel like that's working out the best because I'm between a small and a medium sock size. I think I cast on the small, it was a little too tight, and I cast on the medium and it felt way too loose, and I felt like it would end up being way looser after blocking. So I split the difference. So far, so good. It's snug. I like snug socks in general. So I'm hoping that this keeps its snugness since it's so springy. So yeah, it's the perfect fall colorway. It's got like blues and reds and yellows and greens. It's got like a little bit of everything. My goal is to enter these in the Grocery Girls September Sock Bash. So that means I have to finish this and a second sock by the end of September, and it's the 15th. So it's halfway through the month, and I have 1/3 of a sock. But that's my goal, especially because the yarn is like perfectly fall themed, so I feel like I could get that second entry. So if you use specific colors in your yarn, you get an extra entry. And listen, I want to win me some prizes, all right? If I'm going to do all this knitting, I should be winning prizes from it, right? Now the moment we've all been waiting for. I know you've been waiting for it. I have been too. The What the Fade shawl. I've had a traumatic experience with this shawl so far. Multiple traumatic experiences. And I love where it is now, but there was a time where I was like, maybe I'm not meant to do this project. Maybe God's trying to tell me something. So here I am. First of all, if you are knitting along, I'm only about halfway through clue 2, and I will explain why in a moment. But if you're knitting along and you haven't gotten that far and you don't want spoilers, I'll put the spot in the podcast down below where you can fast forward to, and then you can watch this part later. Otherwise, here we go. Spoilers are coming. You've been warned. This is how far I have gotten in the What the Fade shawl. This is about halfway, a little less than halfway through clue 2 at the moment. And the reason I'm a little behind, clue 3 was released yesterday for me, this past Thursday, since you're watching this not on today. The reason I'm a little bit behind is because I decided to change the order of my fade. So I love the colors I made, but the way that she has, because it's brioche, you kind of choose one from the end and one from the middle, depending on how your colors were ordered. And the one that I had to start with and the one in the middle that paired up together, I started it, I finished clue 1, guys. Finished it, and I was only so-so on the color combination because it paired up my very pale, it's basically white with just little purpley pink speckles. This is Lucille, this first color, with my bright yellow, which is Moment in the Sun, which it wasn't awful. It just wasn't singing to me, and I was kind of avoiding working on it. And then I realized after I finished clue 1, I'd made a mistake. And there's a very repetitive increase along the spine. And I had somehow, I skipped the increase and like moved it up a couple rows. So it was like this lovely symmetrical pattern, and then all of a sudden there's like a huge gap. And so my stitch count was right. I just I jacked this up. So then I was like, well, I made a big mistake. That's definitely going to bother me later, and I don't want to just go back. So I frogged the whole thing, and decided to rearrange my colors. And so I rearranged them in a pattern that I think it still fades really cool. And so, but it matches up a little bit better for brioche, I think. So I started again, and I actually matched up my lightest and darkest colors first. So now it kind of fades light to dark back to light again, with the darkest and brightest colors are going to be in the middle. And I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I especially love the way that this lighter color, Lucille, is fading into this Truth or Tabloid color that I made, that's got all pops of different colors. It faded so seamlessly. My A color, excuse my messy cakes. My A color is this Lucille, and my D color is Enchanted Evening, which is this like dark grayish purple. It's a little variegated, it's got little speckles in it. Love the way these two paired up together. Very happy that I made that change. This is Truth or Tabloid all caked up. And that is pairing up with this one, which is called Glamorous, which is a brighter purple that has yellow speckles in it. So my color palette for the whole thing is just grays and purples and these yellows. And I am now really, really enjoying it. And I'm having a hard time putting it down now that I found like the colors that I really love. So I'm looking forward to hopefully finishing clue 3 Sunday or Monday, so that way I'm back on schedule with everybody else. I had a moment the other day where I realized I made another mistake on the spine increases, and I shifted instead of increasing right on the spine. I had like accidentally done the increase on like the one right next to the spine, and then I was already like 3 or 4 rows past it. And I saw it, and I was like, ugh, what do I do? So you guys would be very proud of me. I knit back on the row that I was on. I knit back to that stitch, and then I dropped it open. So I opened up a whole mess of yarn, guys. And I I took it out those 3 or 4 rows down, and it ended up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 stitches that I actually had to pull off mid knitting. So right here, unwind all of those stitches and then figure out how they all got put back together. And that was like a 30-minute ordeal of just gathering the courage to do that, letting it off, and then staring at it and saying, oh my God, what have I done? So my poor husband, I snapped at him like 4 times because he kept asking me if I was okay. I was like, I'm not okay. I'll never be okay. But I did it. I fixed it. And I was able to move that increase over to the correct stitch, sew it all back up, and continue upon my merry way. And you can't tell. I fixed it for real. I'm not even like hiding a mistake anymore. And I'm so insanely proud of myself for having the balls to do that and actually pulling it off. So if you made a mistake in brioche and you've been afraid to fix it, I say just go for it. You will figure it out. You'll make it work. I'm really glad that I did, because that is a mistake that would have been glaringly obvious to everybody, not even just people who are knitters or who made the pattern. Like, it would have been just straight up obvious to people just walking down the street who've never knit a day in their life. But yeah, so I'm really excited about this knit along. I've been having a blast. Now that I'm going with it. I've never done an I-cord cast on before, so that was new. The videos were really helpful for things like that. And I still, even watching videos, had to redo it like 5 times. So I started the shawl over 5 times and then just frogged it and started it again. But now I love it so far. I really do. I really, really do. Time to move on to finished objects, which again, I'm wearing my one finished object. I have a very good track record, I think, of finishing things and then just wearing them. This is the final Beyond the Wall Mystery Knit Along shawl that I finished just before the final episode of Game of Thrones, which I was really excited about. So I snuggled with it while watching the last episode. Again, the shawl was designed by Roden. I think I'm saying her last name right. It was meant to be inspired by the House Stark shield, and initially I was a little hesitant on my yarn choice because I had chosen this awesome yarn by Fiber for the People. The colorway is called Gotta Lava Moana Loa, and it's just like, it looks like a lava flow. Look at the reds and the blacks, and I was like, House Targaryen, Dany all the way. And then when I saw the inspiration for the shawl, I was like, oh, maybe I should switch. But I'm so glad, especially now, after that season finale, that I stuck to my guns and I knitted up in a Targaryen colorway with the Starks. And if you haven't watched the finale, hopefully I'm not giving away too many spoilers, but if you're a Game of Thrones fan, it's not a huge spoiler. You should have figured it out already. If you're not a Game of Thrones fan and you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Just admire the pretty shawl. I actually was very on the fence. Sorry if you guys can hear those sirens outside. Initially, I was really on the fence about the pattern. I was not convinced that I was going to love the bobbles. I was very skeptical of the bobbliness on this shawl. Now that I've finished it, I love this shawl. I've actually worn this shawl quite a few times already, just because I love the way it drapes. And I know part of this is just to do with the yarn choice too, but just like, oh, I love the feeling of it. And I feel like the bobbles give it like just enough little interest right here to like catch your eye, but they're not overly distracting. I was a little worried that they were gonna look juvenile. Is that the word I'm looking for? Just like, I don't know, bobbles feel a little bit juvenile. But in context of the whole shawl, I enjoyed the whole thing. It was very fun to knit, even when I was skeptical of the fact if I was going to like the finished project. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I wear it everywhere. Apologies to my friends and family who've seen, it looks like this is all I wear these days. But yeah, it's just nice and it's perfect. It's nice for fall too, because it's just big enough to kind of keep you warm when it's cool, but not too big enough that you get super overheated with it. I actually on this one noticed a drop stitch after I bound off. What is the way to say that? I don't know. I noticed a drop stitch after I finished it. So had it off my needles and everything, was blocking it, and then I noticed a stitch pulling out. I'm really bad about that, guys. So I was able to fix it and hide it. Yeah, I actually can't even tell you. I was trying to see if I could find it again. I could not even tell you where it was at this point. I fixed it and I tied it off and just woven the tie off somewhere over here. I think it was somewhere on this edge, somewhere right here. But I'm glad I caught it, because I would have been devastated if it had like pulled out a bunch and then like I finished a project and it's like immediately ruined. That would suck. So yeah, this is my Game of Thrones shawl that I love, love, love so much. I really loved working with this yarn. Taylor at Fiber for the People is awesome. She has awesome colorways. So hopefully she's able to do a shop update soon. I know she's been moving and she just announced she was pregnant. Good for her. Yeah, this was also my first mystery knit along, which was let's be honest, it was my first knit along. And it was my first mystery knit along, and I'm just really thrilled with the final product. I feel like I'm gonna wear this all the time. Life of me, what's going on in my life? So I started preschool. We talked about that last time. She's been doing really good. So far she seems to really like it. We had a couple rough days, but since then it's been smooth sailing. It's today. Today's her picture day. Today being Friday, so Monday when you see this, picture day already happened. I made her wear the So Faded sweater that I made for her, and so I'm really hoping she keeps it on through the pictures. I'm a little worried that she might decide that it's itchy and want to take it off, so I put a little tank top on underneath of it, but she's 3.5. Things bother her, so fingers crossed that she actually gets to wear the sweater through the pictures, that she doesn't ruin it. I might just take it off of her when she gets home and frame it, and just, that'll be it. You know, like, she wore it once, there's photo evidence of it, hopefully good photo evidence, and then we're done. And then I can just admire it the way it should be admired. Things have finally started to slow down. We've finally been catching up with work. We found a really awesome babysitter to come hang out with our kids a little bit during the day, so that way we're not just parking them in front of the TV. We can get more work done that way, which has been a lifesaver. I can't tell you how excited I was when she said she could help us out. So that's been really great. Next weekend, I'm really excited, bummed and excited. Next weekend, we were supposed to go out to New York for a really good friend's wedding, and between ticket prices and hotel prices and babysitters falling through and the whole 9 yards, we ended up having to scrap the trip. So I'm devastated that I'm not going to get to see her in person, live, getting married, looking gorgeous, and I love her. I love her almost husband. They're such a great couple. She did tell me they were going to try and live stream it, so I'm really hoping they pull that off, because I would love to be able to at least watch it live. But because we took that weekend off with the intention of going to this wedding, we're now just going to celebrate our own anniversary a little early this year. Our anniversary is October 9th. Last year, Tony was running the marathon on our anniversary, so it was fun. It was really exciting to watch him do it. It was a really cool experience. I was also like 8 months pregnant, waddling around downtown Chicago with the 3-year-old and an entourage of friends and family to watch it. So nothing makes you feel more tired than watching other people exert themselves while being 8 months pregnant. There were people that finished the marathon, though, that had more energy left in their bodies than I did at 8 months pregnant. So last year it was a team effort, okay? I had to watch it. It's almost like running it. Last year, Tony did the marathon on our anniversary. And this year, we're just going to have a little Chicago staycation. So we're going to spend the day in downtown Chicago and do some touristy things that we've always talked about doing and have never done. We're going to do an architecture tour, I think, which if you ever come to Chicago, or if you're in Chicago and you haven't done this yet, do the stupid boat architecture tour, because I hear it's amazing. Chicago is really, really cool architecture. It's such a pretty city, and the boats just take you right down the Chicago River. You learn a whole bunch of fun facts, and it's a booze cruise, so you can drink on it. And I think anything that you can do while drinking sounds really fun. We're gonna eat tons and tons of good food. We're both huge foodies, so actually the entire time that we've been right as soon as we decided, like, let's just have a staycation, we've been furiously Googling all of the best brunch places and cocktail bars and stuff. So if you follow me on my craft Instagram account, I also have a personal account that you can follow too. If you want to see photos of, you know, food and kids, you can follow me on my personal account. All that information is in my crafty Instagram account profile. I have a business account on there too, where you can see all the pretty pictures that I take. Go follow all of them. Follow me everywhere. It sounds like fun. So I'm really excited about this little anniversary overnight staycation. So you will probably see me posting a lot about that. I've been told I'm not allowed to bring any knitting. I'm gonna bring some knitting. He just doesn't know it yet. And I think that really wraps it up. Luckily, the last half of this month and into October is a lot more sane of a pace than we've been dealing with. So I should be able to get back on a regular podcasting schedule. As I say, it's only episode 3, so there really has not been a regular podcasting schedule yet. So that's pretty much all of my personal news this past couple weeks. Once again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video. I can't remember what questions I asked this time around, but if you remember the questions, please comment your answers down below. Oh, should we make a Ravelry group? That's a thing that people do, right? I'm really bad at being the social aspect of Ravelry. I want to be better at the social aspect of Ravelry. So what's your favorite group on Ravelry? So I can check them out and see how these things work. But we're closing in on 400 subscribers. That's quite a few people, guys. I'd like to actually talk to you on a more personal basis. I think that would be really fun to get to know you all. So if that's a thing that I should do that you think you'd participate in, let me know that. Once again, follow me on Instagram. My handle is @craftallthethings. I also have my personal and my business Instagram linked in the profile of that one if you want to check those out too. You can find me on Ravelry at @gfiorito, GFIORITO. That will be down below. It's a really confusing Italian last name. Tons of vowels. Everyone mispronounces it. You're good. Make sure you go and check out my sister's podcast, the Kayla Crafts podcast. She's adorable. Like and subscribe to her as well because she's awesome. And make sure you check out the donation page for my friend Sam, our fellow crafter who is running the Chicago Marathon to bring clean water to little kids in Africa. And I just think it's amazing what she's doing, and she's such an awesome person, and she deserves all of our support. And that's about it for this week's episode. Make sure you check back in about 2 weeks, and hopefully I'll have a new one for you guys. And until then, happy knitting!